Homestead-Miami Speedway on the final Friday of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series season. The pursuit of a championship has come down to two drivers who cap off a fantastic fight for the Cup with one final race. The first step in that showdown here in South Florida, the opening practice of championship weekend. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars rolling out onto this fast mile-and-a-half track to begin their opening workout leading up to Sunday's 400-miler. That'll decide who carries home the Cup for 2012. The five-time champ, Jimmie Johnson, in the Hendrick Motorsports 48. Or the championship leader entering the final weekend, Brad Keselowski, the youngster from Michigan, driving for the famed team owner, Roger Penske, both making their opening laps of practice as you see it live from here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. And welcome to ESPN's coverage of championship weekend. Alan Bestwick with champion driver Dale Jarrett and champion crew chief Andy Petree. You've both been in this situation before, going into that weekend and starting practice when that big trophy is within your grasp. What's it like?
You're a bundle of nerves is what you are, and you're actually, your mind and your body are doing things that you really haven't experienced. And that's whenever you just kind of have to say, okay, I've done this before, and rely on what got you to this point as a driver and just trust those instincts that got you in this position to start with. But it's very nerve-wracking.
I didn't even sleep for a week coming into the last race. It was my first time to have a chance at a championship. Luckily, I was with Dale Earnhardt Sr., who had won 4 already, so he could carry a lot of the load. But I'll tell you, I was a bundle of nerves the whole week. And when it started, this practice session, he made exactly 3/4 of a lap crash, so we're going to a backup car. So it didn't get any better from there.
Wow. Well, both Keselowski and Johnson have done a little bit better than that as they roll back into the garage area. Of course, after Johnson's crash at Phoenix in last Sunday's race, Brad has a 20-point lead or 20 positions on the racetrack if Jimmie earns max points, including the bonus points for winning the race and leading most laps. Brad still wins the championship with a finish of 15th or better, and there are obviously 1,000 other scenarios from there, depending on where Jimmie finishes within the pack. Understanding that situation, if you're Brad, if you're Jimmie, you go out and try and put the big number up and make a statement in this opening practice, or are you playing it a little safer and feeling it out?
No, right now, you're all out right now. You want to try to qualify as good as you can, try to get the car as fast as possible, get that first pit pick. That helps everything. That kind of relieves a little bit of pressure. So you're definitely on offense and on attack right now. When that race starts, it could change a little bit, but right now, no, wide open.
Yeah, for the 2-car in particular, his evening and afternoon on Sunday could change a lot just depending on how things go. But I think they need to make sure they have that speed that they've shown throughout this chase and throughout the year. They have that right here because you're going to need that. If you go out here and try to run 15th, you're going to get yourself in trouble. What you have to do is go try to run the top 5 like you've done all year, and you have that, and you can make things work. The 48, there's only one thing they've got to do all weekend, and that's win everything that happens here. They need to apply as much pressure as they possibly can, and there's nobody better at doing it than that man right there.
There's the early feedback with Jimmie Johnson using the hands to talk to his crew chief, Chad Knaus. And patrolling the garage area for us today, starting with the championship leader's garage stall, is Dave Burns. David?
And Alan, right now, Brad's number is bigger than Jimmie's because Brad is in qualifying trim. The key for them in this practice is normality. And crew chief Paul Wolf told me they're going to start in qualifying trim, cooling the motor down in between a couple of runs here, and then switch over to their race trim. They want to keep things just the way they've been, which is they may not be spectacular in qualifying. But guess what? When they tune that race trim, they have been spectacular. Top 10s all the way through the chase with one exception. And that's where the two team needs to get to today. Keep everything normal for Brad and finish the way they started. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, next door, as for Jimmie Johnson, you don't win 5 Sprint Cup titles without being able to play to your strengths when it comes to the final race of the year. That means doing whatever you have to do to win. Now, this year, Jimmie doesn't have points to lean on. So what does he do? He leans on pressure. Now, he began to apply the psychological pressure yesterday at a press conference when he mentioned to everyone who would listen, including Brad Keselowski, that in the IndyCar finale, the Penske car had a comfortable 17-point lead. And guess what? He wrecked early. They lost the race and lost the championship. Brad was listening very carefully. And then right now in this session, they're going to begin to apply the pressure because Chad Knaus said we're going out in pure qualifying trim. We want to win practice, win the pole, lead the most laps, and let these guys know that if there's one hiccup in the two team, we will win this championship. So now pressure applied by the 48 guys. AB?
All right, Doc, thanks. And we are quickly under the caution flag out on the racetrack. Reed Sorensen had a little spin off turn number 4 in the 79 car. And you could see that car in pretty clean shape. No harm, no foul there, other than maybe to a set of tires.
Yeah, that's just getting loose. There's not a lot of grip on this racetrack. You can kind of see how gray it is, and it never had a lot of grip even after it was repaved. There's more than what's there now, and trying to go out and run a fast lap can be an experience, especially the first time.
Yeah, and the more age gets on this thing, less grip it has. It seems like these tracks that are in these sandy environments, they lose a lot of grip quickly, and this is definitely one of those down here in South Florida.
And yet this racetrack, such a tremendous venue to decide the championship. I'm reading through all the driver quotes and talking to people in the garage area this morning, and over and over and over again, the topic comes up, one of my favorite racetracks, or my favorite racetrack.
Yeah, don't take it that it has no grip to be that it's not great racing, because that's what makes great racing, is having a track that doesn't have a lot of grip. You got to search around all the way up next to the wall, all over the place trying to find it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and when you see drivers' quotes about liking a racetrack, never is it somewhere that really has grip. It's where that they have to work and maneuver the race car and really work hard as a driver, and this is one of those places. It's just outstanding. Run from the bottom to the top, and we'll see a lot of that.
Track inspection done, green flag back out, cars heading back out onto the racetrack. Talking about working hard, Jimmie Johnson is going to have to work really hard on Sunday to try and force that pressure onto Brad Keselowski and find a way to take home the championship. It was in the race at Phoenix, Arizona last weekend when Johnson was working hard and trying to maybe force things a little too hard, and he got into the wall.
Yeah, you can't call it a mistake. It's just a driver trying to get a little bit more out of the car, maybe, that he could have possibly have overheated the front tire, melted the bead. But, you know, it's kind of coincidental that Brad Keselowski had just taken the lead like 2 laps before that had happened. So that's applying pressure on the racetrack.
So Johnson finds himself with the deficit to try and make up here in this season's final race. And all he can do is try and earn maximum points, which he's done, by the way, 2 of the last 3 weeks in this NASCAR Sprint Cup season. So championship weekend includes Nationwide Series final practice for their championship deciding race. That's coming up next here on ESPN2. The Nationwide Championship to be awarded at the end of the Ford EcoBoost 300, 4 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN. And the Sprint Cup season finale, the Ford EcoBoost 400. Starting with NASCAR Countdown at 1:30 on ESPN Sunday from here in South Florida. The weather forecast is beautiful. The racing should be fun. That is the reality of the championship season deciding race for Brad Keselowski, Paul Wolfe, and Roger Penske's racing team. They do have a decent-sized lead, but so many things can happen in the course of a 400-mile race on a fast mile-and-a-half track with 42 other cars out there with you.
Yeah, and that's whenever you start thinking about all of those things that you haven't thought about all year that could possibly go wrong. You see those that could creep in there, and of course they've been outstanding as far as their engine program and everything. But you know, we saw Martin Truex last week, second lap of the race, have an engine situation. And the one thing that I keep reminding people that I've talked with all week is these race cars are still parts and pieces that are assembled by people. And so mistakes do happen. Andy, when you're in a situation like this, how much do you put them together and take them apart and put them back together?
I don't even want to hear. I can't even stand here and you say all this stuff. I'm telling you, that's what you think about all week long. What can go wrong? What can break? What can we do to make something better? I mean, you almost overthink it, and I think that's the key. You just got to try to pull yourself back and say, hey, we've been doing a good job all year. Let's just try to keep doing that.
Now, I know there are folks who like to look at odds and so on. The odds are Brad is going to hang on to this championship on Sunday based on his performance this season. But 3 times this season, a driver has come from more than 20 points behind to take the championship lead. You see the drivers and the numbers and the points during this season in which it has happened. It's likely to be the 2, but it's not guaranteed to be the 2, and they've got to work really hard and dodge a lot of things to make sure that they take that big trophy home.
Now you see why people like Paul Wolfe can't sleep at night. We keep doing things like that right there. You think of everything that can go wrong.
Tony Stewart, the defending champ. His reign as Sprint Cup Series champion for the year, ending in Sunday's 400-miler. What a spectacular finale it was a year ago, when Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards basically raced head-to-head for the win in this race and for the championship, and the title was decided by the tiebreaker, most wins, which fell in the favor of Tony Stewart.
I just talked to Steve Addington in the garage just before this practice and asked him, what's the agenda here today? He said, we want to win this race this weekend. He said that, I said, well, this would be a great place for you to do that based on the performance that we saw out of him last year here.
Tony Stewart, always entertaining as our ESPN in-race reporter. He will fill that role for us on Sunday in the season's final race. Tweet your question to @NASCAR ESPN or head to ESPN.com, keyword in-race reporter, if you'd like to suggest a question for DJ to ask. And he is always very entertaining in that role for us.
Always gives us a little bit of a different look at things sometimes, and kind of a play-by-play at times as to what to expect on restarts or during the race.
He predicted a few good ones.
Yes, he does. That's right.
Observations about people driving like idiots, a few other choice things. Kyle Busch certainly has been the best of the rest in this 10-race run to the NASCAR Sprint Cup, the chase. Top non-championship eligible driver in 6 of the 9 races. Had another one last Sunday at Phoenix where he led the most laps, and circumstances at the end saw it get away.
Yeah, it's one of those situations that you have to be, if you're Kyle Busch and that race team, they have to be so encouraged by what they've done. But also, where does the disappointment level stop when you lead that number of laps, and now that's 8 times, the last 8 times he led the most laps that he didn't go on and win the race. So that's a lot, especially for a driver this talented, but I think they have to be encouraged by the way that they perform.
Yeah, I mean, the performance has been there, but you got to understand there's got to be some frustration. He's used to winning a lot of races a year. He's not won at all in the Nationwide Series or the Truck Series. Only won 1 race in the Cup Series so far. And I know that that's got to work on you mentally, that you've had cars that are capable of winning, what, 8 times?
Yeah.
And hadn't got it done. So
yeah.
Definitely frustrating.
Yeah, I've really been impressed, though, because I think in other years, this type of situations you talked about, not winning in the Nationwide Series with his own team and everything, and the limited amount of success in the Cup, Kyle Busch would have gone off, and he hasn't done that. I think we've seen a driver maturing here, and I think that's going to benefit him throughout his career from this point forward, and probably help him get himself in that position to win races and win a championship.
Always when you get to the end of the season, you start looking back on the year for your own self or for other teams in our case. And, what was that moment that made the difference? Well, the moment that made the difference for Kyle was in Richmond, when they just made a mistake in their strategy and wound up making the championship by the slimmest of margins. Kyle Busch says that they've got a lot of momentum going into next season, the way that they've been running. They just feel like another win wouldn't hurt to really seal that momentum and send them off into the winter on a high note.
Yeah, if you're not going to win the championship, which they're obviously not, there's only one other way to really feel good about ending the season, and that's to be in victory lane as the champions out celebrating on the racetrack here Sunday evening.
Winning this race may be the most overlooked victory of the season, except for the guy that takes home the trophy.
Except the guy that wins, that's right, because you carry that all the way through the offseason. You get to celebrate and have that trophy, the last win, until Daytona 500.
Kyle's had about the longest run we've seen anybody consecutively put in out there on the track. And you see that high line he's running. A lot of folks starting to make the comparison to this racetrack to Darlington, the tough old track in South Carolina, where you run right up by the wall after you get a few laps on the tires. Comparison to Kyle, having run a dozen laps, Jimmie Johnson has run a single lap now, and from the way he just entered the racetrack, looks like this would be another practice qualifying run for the 48 team.
Yeah, their first effort was off quite a bit, a little over a half a second from the fast time that Mark Martin put up, and about a half a second off of what Brad Keselowski put out there.
Some access road around the inside of turns 1 and 2 that the cars normally use when they leave the pit lane here, but Doc, he went right up on the racetrack like they do when they go out to qualify.
Exactly. It didn't take long for them to realize that they weren't close to where Jimmie wanted to be. Now, Jimmie wants to attack this practice section. This is all about qualifying. Other teams may do some balance runs for race runs for the 48 team. Purely and simply 90 minutes to make this car, as Chad Canals puts it, as fast as we can make it go. They ran 1 lap, came in, made significant front end adjustments, made a major front sway bar change, and now Jimmie back on the racetrack to see if the car's driving better and if the speed is back, particularly when he attacks the corner entering 1. Dave?
Doc, over the 2 camp, Tony Stewart just leaving for another race setup run, the 14 car. The 2 has been changing all kinds of stuff on this particular car. And then suddenly there was a rush of action. The phrase battery was thrown out over the radio. It wasn't for the car. It was for one of the devices that they use to measure the car as they're putting it on the scales, getting ready to go again. But those things won't operate without batteries either. So very calm over here, making changes for another qualifying run. They've cooled the motor down, and they're also cooling the tires down. Looks like they're going to put them back on the car for a second qualifying run. They're cooling the wheels down with bags of ice. And again, just a very nice, relaxed pace over here in Brad Keselowski's garage.
Speaking of battery-operated devices, Dave, Keselowski fined by NASCAR $25,000 for carrying an electronic device in his car during the Phoenix race last week. Got under a red flag, and he pulled out the old cell phone. Now, I know there are those who would say in a series sponsored by Sprint, why a driver would get penalized for carrying a cell phone in the car and tweeting and that kind of thing, but it has to do with electronic measurements and things that might be able to be done wirelessly, and keeping there from being suspicion of that with the other competitors.
Yeah, NASCAR's done a great job with this new electronic fuel injection and all the computers that go with it, and safeguarding against this kind of thing. And there really is no way to use a cell phone in conventional thinking, to be able to use that to enhance performance. But just to take that out of the equation, they say it's illegal to put it in there, and that you just never know what some people could dream up.
Yeah, and it should not be allowed in there. I mean, and I'm sure that Sprint even appreciates the fact that that's not allowed there. But this guy looks pretty calm to be in. Now, I don't know what's going on inside that body, so you can do that outwardly. But I was impressed at the press conference yesterday how he handled everything that Jimmie was kind of throwing at him, and he seems ready for this challenge.
Well, I think that's how he got here. I think he handles pressure well. I think that's exactly how his crew chief handles it too. He's just very calm and methodical, and I think that's why they're where they are.
And maybe one of the other reasons that makes them look calm and cool and collected, they went out there, and in the one lap they've run, they've posted the third fastest speed. While their primary rival for the title has been out a couple of different times, and Jimmie Johnson has the 15th fastest lap. Brad Keselowski, big Michigan Wolverine fan. He might have a national championship of his own to celebrate, where his football team will have to wait for next year.
Yeah. Detroit Tigers didn't get the job done either up there. So he was asked yesterday if he could save Michigan and bring them a championship. He seemed rather confident he could make that happen and help everybody out in the Detroit area.
There's a man who's been fast this year, just hasn't won. Mark Martin in the 55. Fastest lap so far in this practice.
God, how many times have we said that this year, that he's been on top of the board? I mean, but it's his whole career. Anytime. When practice started, he was the first one out there and usually putting up the fastest lap, and you chased him from that point on.
So Mark, one of those drivers trying to again grab that most overlooked trophy of the season as winner of the final race, while you're taking the race trophy back in victory lane. The season championship trophies being handed out on the front stretch stage. Mark's headed back into the garage. Dave is already there.
And I'm by the 2-car of Brad Keselowski, which I noticed, Alan, powers of observation down here. It's blue and gold. Now, it's not maize and blue, but it is blue and gold, so I'm sure Brad's very happy with that. More powers of observation down here led me to realize that 20 minutes they were taking in the garage and the reuse of the tires they had on that qualifying run, they are switched over to race trim. I did ask Paul Wolfe specifically. He said, yep, they got enough out of that qualifying trim. He also told me earlier that today's qualifying session will have so much more rubber on the track from nationwide practice and from truck series qualifying. So they really just wanted to get a general read in qualifying, and now going to what they really like and what they do the best so far this year. That's their race trim. Dr. Jerry Punch.
And we told you Jimmie Johnson went out for one lap, came in, made major front end adjustments, including a sway bar change, went back out on the racetrack for a couple laps, a mock qualifying run, and had this to say on the radio.
So very loose through 3 and 4. From the minute I'm late rolling till I can finally get to wide open at middle, third, and pretty large areas.
So he's not the only one complaining that some of the other cars that are expected to be very quick, including some of the other Hendrick cars, are having the same issue. They're very loose under throttle and coming off the throttle in 3 and 4. Now, Jimmie's been out there twice. They've come in and had the car up on jack stands, up on the scales twice. And now not only front end changes, but their rear end, they're going to go into the car, in the back of the car, make an adjustment, make a spring change, possibly a shock change. They're still talking about it. And now Jimmie, realizing it's going to take a while, he has climbed down on the car to be able to talk to Chad about what happens here and when they get back on the track. Meanwhile, the guy they're chasing back on the racetrack.
You know, I was talking to somebody from the Penske team this morning, and they were talking about how everything was cool, calm, and collected so far. And I said, whether it continues that way is going to depend on what happens in these opening moments of practice. If your car's off and the 48's fast, you're going to feel it fast. But just the opposite has happened. The 2 seems to have speed in qualifying trim, and the 48 hasn't shown it yet.
Yeah, I talked to Paul Wolf in the garage this morning. He said that this is the best engine that they've had all year long. The last one that they've built, the last Dodge engine that they've built, made the biggest numbers on the dyno. They feel like they've really got a good piece. They're going to go for it. He told me they're just going for the win this week. They're not thinking about trying to get a 15th place finish or a top 5 finish. They're thinking about winning, racing just like they know how to race. And I don't know that I agree with it. I think that could change as things develop on Sunday, but that's a good way to approach the weekend.
Yeah, I think you certainly have to try to get as much speed out of your car as you possibly can to give your driver the opportunity to adjust throughout the race and get himself into and out of certain situations. On restarts around people, kind of be a little bit cautious there, but then have the car to go back and pass. If you're not getting your car that good, then you're going to get yourself in trouble. And I think this team is very good and capable of that. And you know, along the lines of the 48, you know, they never found the speed last week at Phoenix. And I think that led to some of their problems before the day was over and created the situation they got themselves in. And it was a little surprising to see that they didn't have that. And looks like once again today, they're struggling to be able to, for Jimmie to get the power down. And that looked like what they couldn't do last week either.
Yeah, somebody talking about, did Jimmie make a mistake? And really the answer was he was pressing probably harder than the car was capable of withstanding at that point in the race.
Yeah, but you never underestimate that 48 team. I remember practice, I think it was in Texas when they were like mid-20s. Went out there and sat on the pole and won the race. Yeah, they can, just because they're down a little bit right now in the practice speed doesn't really mean anything.
No, they're so good and so talented and have so many things at their disposal there that, you know, that they can go do. And the communication line is so great between Jimmie and Chad and their engineering staff that they usually find it more times than not, for sure.
And you see Keselowski making a multiple lap run. Dave reporting there a minute ago they were going over to race trim now to see what this 2-car felt like on a little bit longer than the 1-lap blast. Clint Bowyer has the 4th fastest lap in this practice so far. Of course, Clint comes into the weekend eliminated from his ability to win the championship after what happened at Phoenix late in last Sunday's race, when after he and Jeff Gordon, who've had their tangles a couple of times this season, had that contact and Gordon cut down a tire and spun. Gordon came back off the pit lane and exacted a have-at-it boys retaliation on Clint Bowyer that wound up with this big melee in turn 4. And a few minutes later, another big melee back in the garage area when the 2 pit crews arrived and there was some disagreement.
You'll have that in this sport.
Kind of an ugly situation resulted in a $25,000 fine for crew chief Brian Patty of Bowyer's team and a $100,000 fine for Jeff Gordon, who was also docked 25 championship points.
Yeah, you can see Clint running through there. That'd have been me too. I'd have just been going the other way. I've been trying to run away from it.
So Bowyer's team, best they can do is 3rd in the championship dock, and they are 4th on the board right now.
Yeah, they're not happy about what happened last week. I talked to Brian Patty a moment ago, and these guys are like elephants. They have long memories. And Brian said, you know what? If we just finish where we're running right there, we are right now 6 points behind Jimmie Johnson and 26 behind Brad King. We got a shot, maybe an outside shot, but we got a shot at winning the championship. Now it is all gone, and we certainly aren't happy. So all we can do is come here and try to win this race. Brian Patty there on top of the rig now on the left side. There's the 15 car of Clint Bowyer. Clint's at the car right now, very loose all over the racetrack, particularly loose on throttle coming out of 4. He was very loose in 1 and 2 a moment ago. They came in and made a track bar adjustment. The car loose as fast, as Harry Hogg would say in Days of Thunder. Right now maybe a little bit too free for Clint. But hey, DJ, the higher you go on this racetrack, the more grip you've got. That's why you see Clint now moving up the racetrack to try to maintain the speed and get a little more grip.
Yeah, that's right, Doc. Get up there and find that little bit extra. You've got more banking up there to help you. You don't have to turn the wheel as much. So if you've got a loose race car, that's where you have to go. Just have to be extremely careful because there's not much room for error right there.
Remember this racetrack when it was rebuilt a few years ago, the first with the progressive banking, so 18 degrees in the bottom lane, 19 degrees in the middle lane, and 20 degrees up there by the wall. A little more bank to lean on. Of course, all of that action between Gordon and Bowyer and the crews and so on at the end of the Phoenix race last weekend overshadowed the fact that Kevin Harvick won the race. I think we even got done, went off the air, and we said, oh, by the way, Kevin Harvick won. And a fabulous victory for this team, breaking a long, long dry spell for Richard Childress Racing.
Yeah, they did a great job last week of just getting that car adjusted and being there at the end and taking it to Kyle Busch on this restart.
Yeah, Harvick had to do it twice on those restarts on the outside. He did just a fantastic job of getting himself in position and getting back to victory lane.
Oh, yeah, driving through the oil.
Yeah.
Harvick, the big win at Phoenix last Sunday. Some of the 1,005 royal palm trees surrounding Homestead-Miami Speedway, where after Sprint Cup practice concludes, we bring you NASCAR Nationwide Series final practice next here on ESPN2. Tomorrow, the season and championship deciding race for the Nationwide Series, the Ford EcoBoost 300, ESPN at 4 Eastern Time, and Sunday, the final race in the chase for the Sprint Cup, the Ford EcoBoost 400, 1:30 Eastern, starting with NASCAR Countdown, ESPN on Sunday. Will it be Jimmie Johnson or Brad Keselowski carrying away the trophy at the end of 400 miles on Sunday evening? So far in the opening practice session, Keselowski's posted the 3rd fastest lap. Johnson has posted the 16th fastest lap. And their teams continue to work through their testing plan for this practice session. See on the top of the car here on the 2 right there, that is besides the box that has the cooler in it for the driver, the air system, there's a radio up there on top of the car. Teams are not allowed to have a scrambled radio in the car on the racetrack, but when the car comes into the garage, they plug that radio into the car. Driver and crew chief talk on a private scrambled channel, so all the other competitors and you and I aren't hearing them. And so far, this 2 team has done all of its communicating on that private channel in this practice session, aside of the all clear when they've come up onto the racetrack.
Yeah, you need something to be able to communicate privately in the garage area without having to get out of the car, take your helmet off, and try to talk over the engine noise and all the other things that distract you. And so this is a really good system. I think it's a good thing that NASCAR lets them do this in practice, but they don't let them do it during the race, so we can hear all of the interactions of the driver and crew and spotter during the event. But this is a good way for them to get their car tuned up without having everybody eavesdrop on them.
Well, a couple of years ago, it was Denny Hamlin in the fight for this championship in the final race. Perhaps, and I say this respectfully, perhaps motivation for Jimmie Johnson, because Denny came into the last race of the season leading the championship. Things went wrong, and Jimmie came from behind and won the title that year. Denny has a pretty fast race car in this opening practice for the final race of 2012. Another season where what looked to be a potential shot at a championship run went away with a human error in installing a part for their car for the Martinsville race. And after that 2010 disappointment in the championship, last year didn't go as Denny had hoped. Kind of a pattern of things here where the guy that loses out on that championship doesn't seem to do well the following year.
Yeah, it certainly makes a big difference. I mean, as much as you think that you can still carry momentum, it takes a lot out of you to win and to lose a championship in that battle. And this team certainly looked like they were on track to do it again, or to maybe be right there and have that opportunity again. But a place they expected to win and looked like they may at Martinsville, things kind of came unraveled there. How about it, Doc?
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, basically Darian Grubb, who won the championship a year ago, then with Tony Stewart up on top of the hauler talking to Denny Hamlin. Denny says the car, the further up he goes, DJ, you were talking about how much more grip he got toward the top. The further up he goes toward the top, the car is very tight from the center off. He said the car feels soft on late exit, and it seems to be wandering around the racetrack as he comes up off the corner. And I guess he has seen enough, so maybe he will come down and they will make an adjustment. Denny Hamlin hoping to be able to get the car quick. Now, here's the big question. Normally, they qualify in the daytime, so you run the top lane where you want most of the grip. Tonight, they will qualify after dark, and some of these guys are saying we're going to run the bottom or the inside groove because that's faster, that's freer, and that's where we'll be after dark. So how do you prepare your car now for qualifying at about 6:30 tonight?
That is the question facing all the crew chiefs and drivers as they work through this afternoon session here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Doc, Jeff Gordon, this is the other side of that, the Clint Bowyer, Jeff Gordon conversation we were having before. Your reaction to Jeff Gordon's action last Sunday in the Phoenix race is what?
Most people aren't going to understand what I'm about to say is that as a competitor, I understand where his frustration get to that level and how you can do that. Certainly we've seen Jeff Gordon as a competitor do so many really good things for this sport and as a competitor and outside of that too, but I can understand it. I'm not saying it was the right thing or the wrong thing, but sometimes as a driver you reach that level, and if you could take that split second and go back, you probably wouldn't do those things. But you don't have that option, and at the time it sure seems like the right thing to do. And you know, it's just a frustration level that unless you've been there, it's hard to understand that.
Yeah, I've heard it said about this whole incident that he couldn't believe that it was a championship move or a champion acting like that. But here's the thing. I think that he got frustrated with the way he was being treated on the racetrack. And he'd earned respect as a four-time champion to be treated a little different. And I think it got to a point where it just boiled over with him.
You know, sometimes the very things that make you a champion can work against you. That competitive spirit that it takes and that edge that you have to be a champion can work against you in those situations. But by no means should anyone, and I've heard some of the younger drivers saying things about losing some respect. They should not lose any respect for Jeff Gordon, because they better get through their careers and then tell me how they didn't run across some cases like that themselves. So don't be too quick to speak about that.
Speaking of speaking, Brad Keselowski, after the Phoenix race last Sunday, had an interesting reaction in the media center after the race. A rather frank assessment of some others' assessment of his racing at Texas that included, unfortunately, some unfortunate language that drew attention.
Yeah, the thing was they were all down in the mud fighting, all over the place. Brad Keselowski didn't have a speck on him until he got to the media center.
And again was, you know, in the context of the championship. I've heard some people talking. You guys have been there. You tell me, but if you have that opinion, that's one thing, but is that the moment you want to let it go when you're going to go back out there in this race and race some of those other guys right now?
Yeah, probably wasn't the best timing on his part, but the one thing that I will say about Brad, aside that he could have calmed the language down, but we've all used that at the wrong time, but the one thing that I agree with him was, I don't understand where he was getting criticism from Texas, the way that he drove the race car. And if their driver's saying and criticizing him for that, then they need to look at this and think about how they're driving, because that was exciting. That's what our fans look at this sport for, are moments like that where these two drivers put on one of the best shows we've seen in a long time. They didn't crash, and if they had a crash, it still wouldn't have been wrong driving like that. They were trying to win the race and win a championship. So I agree with Brad in that part. Now the rest of it, I think he may have could have left alone for a while and tried to go win this championship and be focused on that, but he seems to be focused this week.
And if he carries that big trophy away on Sunday night, it's all forgotten anyway.
That's right.
So Keselowski still showing with the third fastest lap overall. And again, they've now transitioned to making some race runs here on this two car. And Jimmie Johnson with the 16th fastest lap overall. If the young man from Michigan carries home the big trophy Sunday, what a journey it's been just in the recent past, from driving underfunded equipment to getting named to drive Dale Jr.'s Nationwide Series car and establishing himself as a winner, to getting a shot in the Sprint Cup Series on occasion and winning a race for James Finch's team at Talladega. That spectacular and frightening finish there involving Carl Edwards. Being signed up to drive for Penske Racing, winning the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship in 2010, and now on the verge of delivering the cup to the captain here Sunday. NBA hoops coming up tonight on ESPN at 7. Al Jefferson and the Jazz taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Then at 9:30, Carmelo Anthony and the Red Hot Knicks taking on Rudy Gay and the Grizzlies. Jazz Sixers at 7, Knicks Grizzlies at 9:30 tonight on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN. And the opening practice of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship deciding weekend ongoing at Homestead-Miami Speedway. A year ago, it was Tony Stewart who struggled throughout a lot of the weekend, and even in the beginning of the race had two problems and had to go to the back of the pack, and wound up winning the race and taking the championship against Carl Edwards, who put the numbers up in all the practice and qualifying sessions. This would be the graphic to give Jimmie Johnson fans hope of what might be to come based on these numbers in the early part of the practice. Tony Stewart with start number 500 in the Sprint Cup Series on Sunday, Dave.
It's been a wonderful career for Tony Stewart. It's interesting looking over here, Alan. Brad and Jimmie are separated by a brick wall. Tony has a clear view of what's happening with Brad, photographers, clamor, and all. This was you last year, so what's it like to watch from this view?
A lot calmer over here than it was last year. So, no, it's you know, it's a big weekend for those two guys over there, obviously, and you know, it's going to be busy for 3 straight days. So if you can't be in that position, it's nice to sit here and watch them having all the headaches that go along with it for the 3 days.
The other thing to do, of course, is to win the race and take away some of the celebration of the champion. You think you can do that based on what you've seen so far?
Well, we're not trying to take away from the celebration, but we'd like to do a little of our own here. So this is our last race with Office Depot. So we would love to finish it off with a win for him, and we've had 4 great years with him. So we're going to do everything we can to get this Office Depot Mobile and Chevy victory lane again.
Okay, and don't get in the way from this championship over here. Don't get in the way over there.
I'm staying on this side of the car. I won't even go around the back or the front of the car. I'm just going to stay on this side for the rest of the weekend. It looks pretty busy over there.
Hey, there's still a few photographers shooting the reigning champ right now. Alan's going well down here in the 14 camp.
Always fun to talk to Tony. He's always got something interesting to say or having a good time with it. And Tony, that sponsor there on the hood of that car, based here in South Florida. I think as I walked up to our broadcast booth, they've got a big old suite right next door to us here at the racetrack, and they would certainly love to see their drivers send them out in style, just like Brad Keselowski would like to send Dodge out in style if they can win that championship on Sunday. Or perhaps Sam Hornish Jr. can win the race. Of course, Dodge's final run for now in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, and they could go out in pretty darn fine style.
It's hard to believe that they've spent all this time and money and effort to get themselves in this very position to win a championship, and then maybe not be able to really take full advantage of a championship there. But they've done a terrific job, and Penske and this organization have really done well with the engines and just really being a small 2-car. I mean, you know, it's a 2-car operation and really not getting help from anywhere else, but they've made it work, Dave.
DJ, you're leading right to my point. You know, Sam wants to go out on a high note here. I talked to his crew chief, Todd Gordon, just about 10 minutes ago. The car was a little bit free in race trim to start with, but they're running sort of parallel to their teammate. They started with a quick qualifying run and then went to race trim, and Todd said, you know, we're going to deliver all the data we can to the 2 camp to try to help them as much as we can while we do our own thing. So it's that feedback from Sam, that data from the engineers. Who knows, possibly their last big swan song here with Penske Racing in the Cup Series will be to help the number 2 of Brad Keselowski win the championship, as they have all year.
Yeah, they got their car's fast here. Top 12 so far. They should be able to deliver some relevant information that maybe can help Brad and his team.
Roger Penske meeting the media just a couple of hours ago now here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, saying Sam Hornish would run for the Nationwide Series Championship next season and run a partial schedule in the Sprint Cup Series in a 3rd car from Penske Racing. That's the future for Sam Hornish, of course, Joey Logano in that 22 next season. Carl Edwards just put the fastest lap up on the board in Sprint Cup practice. Small club had a pretty exclusive one that Brad Keselowski is trying to join this weekend. And look at the names on that list of drivers to win a championship in the fewest full seasons of Sprint Cup competition. Sidebar note, anytime you give Benny Parsons in a graphic, it's fine by me. That's right. Brad Keselowski right now is sitting in 4th fastest in this practice. The man who just put the quickest lap up on the board is with Dave.
And Carl, of course, was the championship challenger last year as well, and it came down to this race this weekend. So let's do a little handicapping for the other guys before we talk about you. Brad versus Jimmie, how do you think that's going from the fan standpoint, your standpoint?
Well, a year ago, let's be straight here, we were leading, okay? So, but it was fun. There's so much going on that week, and it's one of the neatest weeks of my life. You know, just to be part of something that big. So I'm sure Brad's having more fun than Jimmie right now. But Tony and I had a good time last year. I'll tell you one thing, I'm beating Tony in this race. Come back a year later, we're beating that 14 car. We want to get a win. I know it doesn't mean anything now, but...
No, it does, and then you laid down the gauntlet right there.
Right. Coming for you. That was a great race last year. This place is as good as it gets. We got everybody on board. Aflac, Best Buy, Fastenal, Kellogg, UPS, and we'd love to get that win. The car is very fast right now, so it's going to be fun.
All right, thanks for the time. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, and so Tony Stewart, if you're listening out there, Carl is going to try to beat you this year.
It's on, buddy. Yeah.
I don't think we could top last year, though. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. I'll tell you what, it is amazing when it all comes down to one race, and it was so neat to be part of it, and now it really is fun to watch. So as a fan, I'm really enjoying watching what's going on, and I'm sure all the fans are liking it, and there couldn't be a better place than here. I mean, you can race 3 wide, sideways, do whatever you want at this racetrack, so it'll be good.
Championship weekend in Homestead. It's always good, Alan.
Sounds like he's not quite over that, is he?
Yeah. Yeah, it was such, the old thrill of victory, agony of defeat when Carl got onto that car last year at the end of that race and said, I'm going to be the best second-place driver I can be. But that hurt. Of course, Carl in the news this week. Announcement by Roush Fenway Racing that Jimmie Fennig would be Carl's crew chief for next season.
Yeah, that's got to be good news for Carl.
The veteran pairing out of the Midwest. Fennig, of course, with Matt Kenseth this season. Kenseth moving on to Joe Gibbs Racing after the conclusion of Sunday's event. More tuning on that 48 car, Doc.
Well, you see how happy Carl Edwards is. He seems that Brad Keselowski is smiling, but not the case here. This team really looked very comfortable and confident when they walked over to the car for this practice to begin. I think they fully anticipated going on the racetrack and putting up a number, as we say in the garage area, to make everyone worried in the 2 camp. That has not happened. They have been on the racetrack now 3 times, and all 3 times they have come back and put it up on scales and or jack stands to work on the car. Now, Jimmie went out the last time trying to find some comfort and some speed, and Chad said, hey, move around, go up higher, higher, and Jimmie said, I can't, too hot, meaning they are completely taped off, and so the car getting very hot on the racetrack. But I will caution you this, talking to the team a moment ago, back at Texas in the opening practice, Jimmie Johnson was 27th fastest. They struggled the entire practice, and what happened? They went out and qualified on the pole and won the race. And I don't think this practice may be an indication of how good they are, but right now there are some long faces here in the 48 garage.
Funny, Doc, because as you were giving that report, I was scrambling around, flipping back through, and we were trying to figure out where was it that Jimmie practiced again in Texas. It was deep in the pack. It was 27th. So again, cause for optimism, despite the lack of speed being shown early if you are on the Jimmie Johnson side of the fan ledger. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Championship Weekend. Homestead-Miami Speedway, the opening practice is underway. The non-football version of the Miami Dolphins making a splash at the Miami Seaquarium. My somewhat awkward way of trying to tie this into talking about college football, as Oregon's path to the national title game in South Florida, Miami, continues against Stanford, who's still in contention for the Pac-12 championship and a Rose Bowl berth. The battle in Eugene, who's going to win it? Saturday Night Football, presented by Windows 8. Number 13 Stanford and number 2 Oregon, tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC.
When Oregon gets to that championship game, will they take the Ducks to see the Dolphins?
Maybe.
That's one way to tie it together.
Yeah, they'll be trying to make a splash, won't they?
He's here all week, guys.
Don't try this at home. Brad Keselowski, the championship leader in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. So many levels of story on this 2-car. Where he's come from, what it would mean to win this championship. Right now, Dave, all those stories set aside as the business of work is at hand and getting this car as fast as they can get it.
The basic business of tuning on your race car. Sometimes it involves changing a complete setup package. Sometimes it involves tweaking the one that you have that you like. And in fact, that's where they are, the ladder condition. Just checked with Paul Wolf while he walked away from this car. He said they like the direction that they're going, but it's not quite there for him yet. Needs to turn a little bit better in the center of the corner for Brad. So changes made to what has been so far a pretty good direction on their setup package.
A couple of thoughts following up off of that, Dave. One is that they only run this racetrack once a year. So you don't have the notes from, say, the race in May or April or something like that. And the other angle on it is that we hear guys often in qualifying talk about, yeah, the car was fast off the truck. Well, when you go out in that first run in practice and you put a good lap on the board, it really frees up your ability to experiment with entire different setup packages.
Yeah, because you're not chasing speed. You're just chasing something that maybe you can find a little bit more, and you're not under pressure to go out there and find speed. I think that's what you're seeing with this 48 team. I think they are under a little pressure to go out here and try to make this car faster. And so far haven't done it. Now, like I said, we saw them at Texas do it in qualifying, but they've found themselves in about the same position.
I think what's impressive to me about the two bunch between Paul Wolf and Brad Keselowski is that here they are. You don't have a lot to compare to, as you were talking about, Al, and there's not a lot of cars out here making race runs, but they're saying their car just isn't quite there. So he has that much confidence in his driver to know that they need to be a little bit better in certain areas, and they're going to work on that regardless of what they may be seeing from anybody else. They know what they need out of their race car and what makes their driver happy.
Going to go out and give this latest set of changes a little run as Jimmie Johnson continues to search for speed in this 48 car.
I'm sorry, we've seen a couple guys go quicker here recently. Greg Biffle now up on the top. Mark Martin actually went quicker. He's in second.
I think tonight is really going to be interesting during that time. Where are they going to run on this racetrack?
Yeah, I just saw when Mark Martin made his lap, he was right on the bottom of the racetrack. I mean, right on the white line. So I think you'll see that, especially when the track cools down. There'll be grip down there.
And Jimmie Johnson headed back into the garage area, Doc.
And they were talking to Jimmie a moment ago, telling him about where some of those guys like a Mark Martin and some of the others ran on the racetrack. In fact, where they were finding speed and finding grip. Mark realizing they're going to qualify probably on the bottom of the racetrack. Jimmie Johnson made changes on the car, but this racetrack, according to a lot of guys, including Jimmie, is just very, very slick and very slippery. And some have said if I can drive it harder in the corner, but I can make a mistake and we could be in serious trouble. By the way, this is the same car that Jimmie had the issue with at Kansas, and the car had to be rebuilt back on the pit road to get back into a top 10 finish. So it's a slick racetrack. One mistake and anybody can be banging the wall.
All right, Doc, so while Johnson continues to fine-tune his car, Keselowski's out for another run. Talked about confidence in the driver, knowing the feel he's looking for. Confidence in a car. They ran this car at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Started mid-pack, led the most laps in the race, and had a shot to win it until the cautions and the fuel calculations and the fuel strategies went a different way. They wound up finishing in 11th place, one of their worst finishes in a long time after leading the most laps.
Yeah, certainly that night wasn't, the finish wasn't indicative of how well they ran, and I think that was kind of maybe an eye-opening experience for those guys, because they'd gotten, I'm not going to say that they were on the cocky side, but they were pretty confident in what they could do fuel mileage-wise, and I think it really kind of bit them that night, and it's probably helped them throughout the rest of this chase.
Yeah, it did bite them, but I'll tell you one thing they did in that situation was they didn't panic. I mean, that thing ran out of fuel, wouldn't start. They really were composed about how they went about it from there to get as good a finish as they could, and I think that's what's put them in this position. They didn't panic at all and didn't make it worse.
Yeah.
You look back on that race in Charlotte, if they're able to win this championship, and what they could have lost that they didn't. Right. Other places they could have lost ground. When Ryan Newman and Kyle Busch tangled, it was right in front of Brad Keselowski at Kansas Speedway. Somehow he missed that mayhem and finished in 8th position. Then last week at Phoenix, the Gordon-Bowyer tangle was right in front of Keselowski. Then coming to the checkered flag, all the cars that started wrecking off turn 4 on that bottleneck Phoenix front straightaway, and Keselowski somehow missed that after getting hit in the side of that 2-car by Kurt Busch. Things they'll remember.
Yeah, I think, he could have lost 10 spots there on that very last lap. If he would have gotten turned down into the inside wall, he did a great job of keeping that car straight. But there were 10 spots to be lost there, and his lead could be half of what it is right now if Brad hadn't just kept his cool and kept that car straight and got it across the start-finish line with a lot of damage on it.
Yeah.
Remember those things even more than your great win, don't you, Andy? I mean, I felt like that when I won a championship, I thought about the races where we could have lost points even more than the wins. I can't tell you where we won when I won the championship, but I remember some days where we made good out of bad.
Yeah, that's how you win championships, is by trying to and doing a good job of mitigating things that could really go bad for you. And I think that's what they did at Charlotte, and I think that's why they're in this position.
So while Keselowski's out there working on race runs, and you heard the radio transmission, if you got a feel for it, you can come on in. Other teams are out there in their qualifying trim, putting up fast laps. Greg Biffle's gone to the top of the board. Landon Castle just posted the second fastest lap, and Mark Martin sits third, Doc.
And Mark climbing out of the car with a huge smile on your face. Obviously, the race car pretty good. How comfortable is it out there?
We were laughing because I almost wrecked. It's there's a qualifying run there, and I was going to run high and about ate the wall alive. So I shut it off and coasted all the way around to the back stretch, refired it, and made a qualifying lap where I'm supposed to run. And so, I don't know, the car's pretty good. It's not a rocket ship, but pretty good. And having fun working with Rodney Childers and all this, driving this Aaron Dreams machine.
You were in a championship battle for many years, Mark, and you know the pressure that the 2 and the 48 are feeling. What is your take right now on what's going on up there? What's going to happen on Sunday with these guys? You know both these drivers and how they've had different approaches to get here.
Got to watch and see. Everybody needs to be tuned in.
Can you win this race Sunday?
We could. We've been close a lot this year. It'd be nice to be a contender. I really appreciate MWR, Michael Waltrip Racing, and everybody at MWR, Rodney Childers, and all these guys for giving me great race cars and putting me in a position to have a shot to win a few races this year is a big deal for me.
Hey, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Mark Martin coming back in the car. They're going to make another change and go back out. But as he said, he's on the ragged edge. And when Mark's on the edge, that means it takes a lot of talent to hang on to a very slick racetrack.
All right, Doc. So Keselowski done with another run. And you see where they rank as far as fast laps are concerned. Brad and Jimmie well aware of those numbers, plus what they're feeling in the seat of that race car as they work through this opening practice. There's the live scene in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series garage. The respective stalls of the 2 championship contenders for Sunday's Ford EcoBoost 400. Brad Keselowski, Jimmie Johnson. By the way, separated by a cinder block wall between those 2 garage stalls, the way that the garages are laid out here at Homestead. So the teams, unlike most weeks, aren't eyeballing what the other is doing directly. Somehow I have a feeling they know, though.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time together over this season, parked beside each other, so they kind of know what's going on over there.
The story of this practice so far, Keselowski posted a pretty good number early. Johnson's team taking a couple of runs in qualifying trim earlier, not quite finding the speed that they were looking for. Back aboard. We've characterized this championship, especially as it got to its second half, as being a toe-to-toe heavyweight slugfest between Jimmie Johnson and Brad Keselowski. Look at those numbers. Talk about squaring off, even up.
I think they both just showed that these were the 2 best drivers and teams, not only throughout the chase, but throughout the season. But they've certainly stepped their performance up, and just been amazing to watch these 2 championship caliber drivers go at it here.
The one hiccup last Sunday at Phoenix, the defining moment of Jimmie Johnson's season so far. The right front tire that went down into the outside wall, and the 32nd place finish that has left him 20 points behind Brad Keselowski going into this season's final race. I heard some people talking about how Jimmie's never had to race hard here at Homestead before. We don't know how he's going to do. And I keep thinking, people keep overlooking that 2010 race when he chased Denny Hamlin coming into this one and finished second in the race and put all the pressure he could on, and was enough to get the title.
Yeah, I don't think you don't want to underestimate Jimmie Johnson and the abilities that he has as a driver and competitor, and certainly this entire race team. We've seen 2 of the last 3 races. They had fast race cars, led the most laps, won races. Don't think that they can't come here and get that done. This is a type of racetrack that Jimmie excels at, too. A racetrack where the driver really has to be on top of his game.
And even if this one doesn't turn out in Jimmie's favor, you have to appreciate the excellence of this 48 team. Every year they've been in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series together. We saw Chad Knaus there, Jimmie Johnson. I remember the first year they had the chase here. Remember, it was Jimmie and Jeff Gordon racing Kurt Busch for that championship right down to the final lap of the race.
Jimmie going out on a new set of tires. He should be able to move up. We've seen a lot of cars pick up now when they put a set of stickers on at this point. Got a lot of cloud cover. Track's kind of cool.
It's always difficult when you're trying to make those runs and make adjustments and get more speed. And we talk about the lack of grip out here. And once you run those tires, it's hard to get more speed out of them. You really have to make a significant change to the car to make that happen. So he's got a set of stickers. This should really tell them if they've been headed in the right direction.
Talk about being at your best when it counts the most since the advent of the chase for the championship format. Look at Jimmie Johnson. Leads all of those statistical categories among all drivers. Wins, top 5s, top 10, even starts. He's been there, and he's been excellent when he's needed to be.
Winning a quarter of the chase races. That's incredible.
Well, he certainly needs to be at his best on Sunday. Needs to be at his best in qualifying later on today.
That would certainly help their effort in trying to get maximum points on Sunday if they can start somewhere near the front to where it won't take him very long to get there and be able to lead the most laps here Sunday evening.
See what this lap looks like for the 48.
So seems to be thinking that higher line certainly up past the middle of the racetrack is going to be the way to go, or at least it is here during the afternoon.
This will be a good gauge, this lap right here. We saw some of the other cars running right on the bottom. See if he can move up here, move it on that top side. Yeah,
oh yeah. Into the top 5 where quick laps are concerned. And look at that, as the 2 comes out to make its next run.
Good job.
Yeah, and that's just 3/100ths of a second off the fastest time so far.
Well, Johnson just put a number up, Dave. What's the plan for the 2 here?
They're on the same set of tires they started with, Alan, so they're continuing in this race trim configuration. Hey, you were talking about the way the 48 has been doing things. The way that the 2 does things, relatively unknown, but we've seen them work in a very methodical, laid-back, sort of casual, friendly way throughout the chase here. And another good example this week at home, crew chief Paul Wolfe took the road guys, yeah, the guys who swarm the car every week for 36 weeks in a row, out to lunch. No big deal. Went to the barbecue place. What good mechanic doesn't like a good plate of barbecue? But wanted to thank them for what they had done already and encourage them in their final weekend. Yeah, it was just lunch, but it meant a lot to these guys.
The message delivered there by Paul Wolfe is just do what you've been doing for one more week the same way you've been doing it, and it'll be fine. So Jimmie Johnson puts himself up into the conversation from we don't quite have the speed we're looking for to we're a factor to win the pole later. Johnson 4th fastest, Keselowski with the 8th fastest lap as they get ready for qualifying. As we watch NASCAR Sprint Cup Series opening practice, we look ahead to NASCAR Nationwide Series final practice. Those cars on the track next on ESPN2 to set the stage for tomorrow's Ford EcoBoost 300 championship deciding race for the Nationwide Series. ESPN at 4 Eastern time tomorrow. Then Sunday, the final race in the chase, the Ford EcoBoost 400 from here in South Florida. Coverage starts with NASCAR Countdown at 1:30 Eastern on ESPN. Who carries home the championship trophies from Homestead this weekend? Brad Keselowski back in after his latest run. Dave Burns reported that he went out there on the same tires he's been running on the entire practice, Andy. We have him running 25 laps. Fastest lap was his first lap. The last lap that he just ran, he ran a 31:57 for his fast lap, 32:85 for his second lap. What do you make of those numbers?
Well, I've been watching the progression of this team as far as how they're working in race trim, and I think that their cars, they've been making it better. I've watched one of the runs that it wasn't so good, and Brad even said that he didn't have what he wanted. Make changes. went back out, and you could definitely see it. And by staying on that same set of tires, I think they're learning a lot about what their car is going to be like as the race wears on.
Maybe slightly better than that last run. If you want to stick to that game plan, let's go ahead. I'm happy with that.
All right, 10-4, that's what we'll do.
Very calm down there.
Yep. Got a plan. They're working their way through it. Greg Biffle has a plan to try and win a 4th race at this track. Man who's won this race 3 years in a row. A few years back, had a little moment.
Greg's not afraid to step it out there.
Wow.
Mark Martin goes to the top.
Greg Biffle with his 6th fastest lap so far. That says 5th because it'll slide down the board 1 when that registers. Mark Martin, new fast lap. Remember, Mark told Doc a little while ago his car was pretty good.
That's it. You have to watch out for Mark Martin when it's just pretty good. He was on the bottom of the racetrack. I was watching his lap there, and he wasn't right down on the white line, but he was pretty close to that.
Be a popular win if Mark could take the checkered flag here on Sunday night. Back into the garage, Dave.
Alan, you heard Brad's radio. Stick to the plan. I was hoping that meant he was going to hop out and we'd have a chance to talk to him. But I believe it's going to mean they're going to make this one more change, something to the right front and around to get it a little bit better before we come up to the top of the hour and the end of this practice session. So right now, very calm about everything, but thinking they can do just a little bit more, and they're going to try it. Dr. Jerry Punch.
And when this practice began just over 80 minutes ago, the track temperature was 103+ degrees, and this guy, Jimmie Johnson, was sideways, very loose in and very loose off the corner. And now the clouds have come across, the wind has picked up, the track temp has dropped to 95 degrees, and the cooler it gets, the faster Jimmie Johnson is going. He said the car with the sticker tires on last time out, where you saw the speed, 4th overall at the time. He went from 18th to 4th. They're going to bolt more tires back on one more time for Jimmie. And by the way, qualifying, it'll be cool and dark. And when this race ends, it'll be cool and dark. So Jimmie Johnson doing well here to get in the right direction. The car quick, hoping to get quicker here on this final run momentarily. Guys.
Sunset at 5:31 local time tonight, Doc. Qualifying starts at 6:10 local time on this Friday in Homestead, Florida. Mark Martin, top of the board in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series practice. They're all lining up to make another run. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series opening practice, Homestead-Miami Speedway for the final race of 2012. Sunday's Ford EcoBoost 400, where either Brad Keselowski in the 2 or Jimmie Johnson in the 48 will cart away the championship trophy at the end of the night. Watching these two drivers continue to work on their cars in these final moments of this practice session, Doc.
Yeah, when the session began, Jimmie Johnson had told the team, that he was very confident and very comfortable. In fact, he said he was very optimistic about what would happen. They'd gone back out in this session. They were hoping to be able to catch a cloud and get a little more grip and free the car up and get some more speed. Right now, Jimmie about where he was a moment ago in terms of the comfort level, but the speed not there. He currently 14th overall on the speed chart. But I think these guys do believe. Jimmie said, I do believe we can win this championship, and I think what they've done in this session hasn't changed their mind at all.
Johnson headed back in. Keselowski still out there on a longer run, and we're going to see that leaderboard across the top of the screen shuffle up a lot in these final minutes of practice. All those cars that we saw on the way to the commercial break sitting on pit road, looking to make practice qualifying runs and waiting for a clear spot on the racetrack to do that in clean air.
Yeah, we heard Doc talk about the track being so much cooler than it was when all the cars went on the track to start this practice. So a lot of guys can really move up the board if they go out here on a sticker run.
And the further up the board they move in this practice, the later they'll run in qualifying tonight. Maybe catch a little bit cooler track conditions then too.
Logano's gone to the top right now. I was talking to Joey a little bit last night, talking about he's had a good chase. They've been solid. A few things happened, like last week getting caught up in that incident between Jeff Gordon and Clint Bowyer. But looked like he was going to have somewhere a 5th or 6th place run, and that obviously didn't materialize. But Talking about his outstanding season that he's had in the nationwide.
Watch how I tie this in. Joey to be the teammate of Brad Keselowski next year at Penske Racing, his final ride for the Gibbs team this weekend. And we'll see Joey in Nationwide Series practice coming up next.
A lot of joy as he tries to win number 10 of the season in that Nationwide Series. I asked him if that was a tough decision having to leave that. He said, yeah. He said, you know, a perfect scenario kind of would have been going over there in the Cup side and being able to still drive that Nationwide car over there. But he's hoping to get something put together where he can run a number of Nationwide races. Probably not as many, he said, as what he ran this year.
So 48 done for the practice session. They're going to be out of time. 2 going to run it out on the racetrack, it looks like. We talked to you at the very beginning of this broadcast about what the experience was like getting ready for the opening practice when you're in position to have a shot at that big championship trophy. You've run through now 90 minutes of track time. Whether your car is, you feel pretty good, as pictured left, or needs a little work, as pictured right. How does this change things now from those emotions you had 90 minutes ago?
Well, at least they've got out here and got on the racetrack and kind of gone through the motions. I think the stress levels probably come down some on both sides because now they're into their routines and doing the things that they're used to doing.
Yeah, I think it's a little settling as a driver in particular that you're able to get in the car. Things went reasonably well. And even if they didn't go all that well, it kind of settles you, though. It gets your mind and your frame of mind back on thinking about the job at hand.
Next step for these drivers and teams, get the car ready for qualifying and determine their starting position. Starting at 6:10 Eastern time tonight, they'll run their lap on the clock around this 1.5 miles, and that'll be the next chapter in the story of this championship weekend. It's one of them in the middle of the pack, it's one of them at the front. And what that means and either adds to or subtracts from the pressure of this championship weekend for the championship leaders, the 2 team for Brad Keselowski or the 48 Jimmie Johnson and the 5-time champ. So in just seconds, the red and black flags will wave. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series practice will be over, and we